Hi everyone, I am Christine Jossi of Mail Something Pretty. Thank you for watching. For those watching live or looking for me, I know I was 4 minutes late. Sorry. I had everything set up and then I forgot my stem and cut and emboss machine, so to run downstairs and get it. And so I am here and I'm here alone. I'm so used to, I had Anne here twice last week, and that was nice to have company to kind of go back and forth. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Let me just make sure. I think we're all good. This is a different time. This is actually going to be at my new time at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm hoping some will come on and let me know that you can hear me. Nancy, can you hear me? I just want to make sure because I have a mute little symbol on my desktop here and I want to make sure it's all good. I'll just wait for Nancy and then we'll get going on our projects in just a awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have Nancy here, and if anyone else is joining in, let me know. It's always more fun when I have more people, and I know that I'm actually talking to live, real people, and the replay people is good too, but it's the interaction of the comments makes it fun for me. Excellent. Polly's here. Hello. And Karen's here. Awesome. Yeah, I was a few minutes late, so sorry about that. I forgot something downstairs. All right, so I am, and I just got a notification. It's interesting, and I'll start in a second because I just got a notification from YouTube because I stream it to both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So YouTube is I guess a 2-minute delay to when it starts. And so I'll have to keep that in mind actually, so then people on YouTube can find me and they don't miss anything. Great, Karen can hear me, perfect. From Hutt, Iowa. Yeah, it's kind of hot here too. Maybe not as hot as you are, but. So I was saying, I'm by myself today. My partner Anne is not here. She is in an airplane. She left. Her flight, I think, was at 5:30 last night, and she said it's about 30 hours before she gets home. So she still has a good leg to go. So another 8 hours or so till she gets home. So she will not be joining us live, but we have planned it. So we are going to do a monthly live together. Technology, hopefully. We're going to be streaming. We'll be on 2 screens, but we'll be live at the same time. So I will send out a lot more details about that when it gets closer, but I think it's going to be for United States time. It will be the last Thursday of the month. That's where we're hoping. We'll see. And so it will be 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday the 28th, I think. And for Australia, her Brisbane time, it will be 10 a.m. on Friday morning. So that's kind of the 8 p.m. my time, 10 a.m. her time kind of is the best thing. Okay, so I'm going to switch and I'm going to move this down. I was trying to figure out, remember we had that light you could see in my face on, I think that's good. Oops, still learning this. Everything, I keep joining everything new. Okay, we have a new person, Kathy. Hi, welcome. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this is good. The lighting is good. I think it is. Alrighty, so I'm using new product from, wasn't even ready, from the holiday catalog that begins tomorrow. So then after tomorrow, I can open up the catalog and maybe we'll even do a walkthrough. I'll figure out a time to do that. But these masks that make the sunflowers are in that catalog. And so I'm going to show you this kind of basic, slightly different version. And it's not really a stepped up version, but it's a little bit different. And so I'm going to figure I'd show you 3. There are already, because demonstrators were able to pre-order. So there's already a bunch of samples on YouTube, on Pinterest, on however you search. You look, they're called Abundant Beauty Decorative Masks. And I'll show you. You actually get, so I actually used 4 different masks that I'll show you to make the sunflowers one. But you also get more in the pack. So they just come in a pack like that. And they're clear. Usually they're decorative masks brown. So I don't know why they did them kind of this clear white color. But you also get this houndstooth, which will be fun. And you get a snowflake. Oops. The snowflake pattern. And you also get leaves. So it's kind of fun. You kind of hit a lot of the seasons with it. So I think you'll be seeing a lot of people using them. All right, so we're going to do sunflowers today. And I've already pre-cut kind of my paper. I'm going to give you a couple hints on what I did. We'll start with this one. All right. Oh, I'm glad you guys like the cards. Yeah, I thought they were kind of pretty. And this is kind of on the Anne and I were joking around simple cards because hers are more layered. I don't know. I think simple can still be complex depending on the style and the design aspect. But hers certainly have a lot more layers. And so we were joking about her doing simple or not doing simple cards. So I think I showed her the way. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So those are my pieces. I'm going to start with, I decided to do very vanilla versus basic white because I decided to use, this is new ribbon, and this actually kind of talk along the way, but is part of the ribbon share that I'm doing, and the share deadline is today or tonight. I will be placing an order tomorrow morning. So this is black and vanilla, and it has a nice edging, and it looks very similar, I brought it up here, to the black and white ribbon, but hopefully you can see. The one on the right, this is the new one. It's wider and it's vanilla versus this is the one that's in the annual catalog. And it's a little skinnier. So at first I'm like, what's the difference? But then I put them next to each other and you really can see a difference when they're next to each other. Certainly if I didn't have vanilla and I only had white, that works just fine. All right, so that's why I decided to do the vanilla, because I was matching my ribbon. Alrighty. I'm going to use, this is just I think it came from a kit. You know, a lot of the kits, they give the cardboard backing. And so I'm going to use that as my surface. Kind of my scrap paper, if you will. Yeah, Karen's saying it's Anne's Paper Crafts. She does use a lot of layers. So you can really use any of these masks first. And that's because there's, you see, there's a little notch right here. There's a notch in all of them. Notch here. Actually, I don't, not with the snowflakes, but for all this just noticing this now. There's a 4 right there. There's a 2. Oh, I guess kind of you don't really, it doesn't matter because I did some, I'm going to say out of order, but I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see, but there's a little number right there. And I notice I use them that way. I don't think it matters. I'll try them this way and we'll see if there's a difference. And I'll do them in the number order they say. Interesting. Learn things, new things all the time. Okay, so we'll start with the first one. So what you could do, because then you can line up all those notches, except for you can't really color through the plastic. That's why I was saying you could do any ones. So one way to do it is just to plop this right on here, and that looks great. And then you have to carefully kind of line up the next notch. And that's number 3. Interesting that they did the leaves second. It really doesn't matter. I was doing all the leaves last, but we'll do it what it says, but it doesn't matter. So what I did is I kind of found where I wanted my flowers. And then, so they all fit in my piece of paper here. And then I lined up this edge with this edge of my cardboard. That made it easier to line up the next pieces. It's right in front of me. I decided, I'm just going to lift this up without moving the paper. I decided to put a little washi tape down. You can use, the repositional tape, something that when you peel it up, it doesn't take any paper. And that way, when I add on my other ones, it's a little easier. I'll kind of see where it goes, but I also know that this follows this edge, even though this is on crooked. Don't worry about that. All right. So that's gonna go like that. Just checking. Okay. Just checking the comments before I started. Okay. I'm gonna use Daffodil Delight for my sunflower. And I decided just for this card, it doesn't matter. I'm using this Sponge Daubers. And they just fit right on your finger. And I had a new packet. I don't see it. Well, here it is. They come in a little bag of 5, so they're like $1 each. And these ones are brand new. And sometimes what I do, which is not on any of these, I'll take, if I had, this one won't work because it's kind of dark, but if I had a light pattern washi, or even a piece of paper and you tape it on, you can write the name of the color on here so that you can, these are reusable, but they're also washable to a point, and then they get a little bit icky. But you can use the blender brushes too, but I just happened to grab my daubers. All right, so then I'm just going, this is kind of like, I think it was in the 80s, maybe early 90s, stenciling was really popular. Now it may still be popular in some areas, I don't know, but around here, it was really popular in like the, I guess it was like the late 80s, early 90s. Everything was stenciled, right? I mean, I did stenciling when I first got married on our walls. We did it on curtains, did on everything. So this is kind of what it reminds me of. I'm just using yellow, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want. You could do different colors. With this one, I'm just doing all the same color, but you could definitely do like an orange one, a yellow one, and a, they have some pinkish sunflowers. Okay, so then when you pull this up, you get a nice little template like that. Like that there. And so the next one, I'm going to do the order that it, Stamp It Up indicates, but I'm telling you, I did these in all different orders. So the second one, they say are the leaves. Put that aside. And again, I'm using this guideline because I use the edge of my paper. Now you can move it around because it doesn't have to be exact because these are just leaves, right? So I might even, well, maybe I'll do what it said. And on the next one, I'll move it around. How's that? So I'm using Old Olive. Oh, I see you have a glare right in that. Sorry about that, but it's shiny. That I don't think I can fix. But I'll keep moving it. This is Old Olive. So I'm just going to do my leaves. And you can be messy, right? Because I just have the inks just going right on top. They're plastic. And they wash right off with your chamois, or just run it under the water. So there are the leaves. Put that aside because we're gonna, I learned my lesson. I'm not gonna stack them on top of each other because there might be some wet ink. There is wet ink and it may transfer to the back. So I'm just gonna kind of, for now, just put them next to each other because I do have a sample. I think that I got ink where I didn't want it. I'm trying to carefully keep my work surface clean. Okay, so the next one, number 3. So I'm lining that up. Or, you could also even, I didn't even think of this before. You could make like, if this is where it's going, make a little mark where the notch is. So the next one, you can put it right in there. So I'm going to use Pecan Pie for my inside of my sunflower. This one, actually, it's a brand new ink pad. So I'm going to try to do it light. There's already a lot of color left on this. Now for this one, you could put this right on top, but I'm not going to because, again, I might get, although it's pretty clean, you could get some transference on there. So you can leave it just like that. I think that's beautiful. Or if you wanted another layer, so let me just show you. That's what that looks like without that extra layer in there. But I'm going to put this one, so not only am I lining this up, I'm actually using that notch. And you could use the same color, because if you added more color on there, you would just get a darker. But I'm showing that close. But since I brought up more colors, I'm going to do early espresso on this one. And you can see there's a little bit of yellow over there, so this early espresso is just going to go right over that. And there's also little dots. I just want to make sure I get in those little dots so you can see the difference of the two browns. So if I was going to use that pecan pie again, I would just make sure I got it really dark, because you just want to see. And I think I'll show you the sample I did first. I did use the pecan pie twice. So lift this up and look at that. So you can kind of see the lighter brown was the pecan pie, and the darker brown is the early espresso. So I'll move this over and we'll put the card together. So the washi tape is kind of repositional, not that sticky. It's just so pretty. And I just don't want to get... Decided to put it on Daffodil Delight. And then for this one, I decided, I don't want to rub it just in case anything's wet. I did, oh yeah, so here you can kind of see the two-tone of the pecan pie. And then I just did a knot rather than, I know some people don't like a bow or anything, so you can just do a knot. So I'll show you what I mean. So I just took my ribbon and I just tied a knot. Just make sure there's enough overhang to put on the side. And you can decide if you want the knot to be up or if you want the knot to be down. I think it, motorcycle just went by. I think it looks kind of better that way. So it is going to cover some of the sunflower. You can decide where you want it, but I think I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to cut a little bit longer than what I need. And then I'm just going to close my glue. I'm just going to use good old Scotch tape. You could use fast fuse. No, that's not what it's called. Seal to put a little bit on the back to stick. Actually, I'll show you that. I could use Scotch tape, right, and just tape it down. But the fuse, especially the what's this called, the Seal Plus. This, I actually do like this one. I don't like the regular seal. This one I can just lift up. It's extra strong. The regular seal, you have to kind of flick your wrist in a certain way for it to break. But this one's all perforated, so it's much easier to use. All right, so that just sticks like that. And if you're using that, you could just add more. But you know me, I use glue. And we're going to, I already have a black base, pre-cut. And then this will go like that. So this is going to be an anything card because I didn't put any words on the front. So that's kind of the two with slightly different colors on the inside. So the sunflowers and in the opposite direction. So it really doesn't matter if you hold it one way or the other. And then I'll just put, we'll see if we have time, I'll put some stuff on the inside. So let me just show you another. I have 3 versions to show you. So this version, I'll do it, is a little bit more solid, right? So this one had, you can see a little bit more of the template, like the stencil with the white. And then I was just trying around. So this one's a little bit more fuller of color. Let's see if I can get it a little more crisp than I did on that one. That's, I think, the card that I smudged a little bit. And this is what happened. Remember I said if you get some of that color on the back side of the stencil and you place it down. So I got some brown on this one. So lesson learned. All right. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did. Let's start with a sunflower, position it on my paper, and then I'm going to, because I do like it this way, line it up at the edge of my cardboard, and now that I have that little mark with a notch, so it's almost like a two-way of making sure it's in place. I'm going to reuse my washi tape, and I'll put this back down. And I'll do the other side for the yellow. On the third card, I'm going to show you I introduced a second color for the flower. It came out really pretty. I was really happy with it. So I've seen, this is the first time I've used it, and I've seen other people use all different colors. So you can actually kind of make a red flower, and it could look like a poinsettia. So you can use this for Christmas. And you could certainly turn it into different, you know, sunflowers come in all different colors. So I'm just rotating this a little bit. Oops. I have got to do one at a time because that didn't work. So I'm going to start with the big one. And I'm actually not being picky. I just rotated it so there's some white showing. I'm going to hold it down. And I actually meant to do the first layer really dark, and I was going to do this layer really light, but I didn't. So the first layer will be light, this will be darker, and we'll see what happens. So you are going to lose some of like the outline that had that, you know, that stencil-ish part, that white part. So let's see what happened. Oh, the washi tape's in the way, that's why. Let's fix that because that looks funny. There's going to be a tip that didn't work. So you can kind of see even just on here. So it's a fuller flower with a little bit more color versus these are more outline. So I'm just going to do the same thing. You're just doing it one color at one flower at a time because you have to kind of rotate. It doesn't all rotate to work together. Again, this is where you can introduce different colors as well. So there's that second one, and the third one we'll do. All right, it works out. So it just gives a different, oh, I got a little smudge there, but that's all right. So that must, oh, that was probably my finger. So just be careful. The ribbon might go right on top of that since I smudged it. So now we'll do the, we'll just go in the same order we did it before. We'll do the leaves. So I'm going to just keep them kind of where they were. Or if I want to move it in, maybe I'll move it a little bit. You could do one leaf at a time if you wanted it closer. So this one I moved in a little bit closer. And so then this one I'm going to move in a little closer. And this third one I'll move a little bit. So they are positioned on purpose to all align with each other, but that doesn't mean you're limited to keeping them that way. And then we'll do the brown. And this one I might just keep. We'll see. Should I use the right? That's yellow, that's green. That's a spread. Oh, here it is. Didn't want to use the wrong dauber. I might just keep this solid, just for a difference. You see how dark that is? That's a brand new ink pen. Yep, I think I'm just going to leave that one just, again, for it to be a little bit different. I'm just going to leave that without just the solidness of the inside. And then just making sure I don't have too much ink on my fingers, because, you know, I do that. And the same thing, we'll put that on yellow. I think that looks so pretty. And really, they're pretty quick. They're quicker than what I'm doing. Like you can really make a whole bunch. Oh, that didn't line up very good. So let's take that off and cut a little piece off. I thought I cut them all the same size. Apparently I didn't. All right, so we need to cut off 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to cut that side off that has a brown smudge. How's that sound? I'm going to do it upside down because I already have glue on it. All right, so now my sunflowers aren't quite centered, but that's all right. I'll make sure the next card is the right size paper. So what I did with this one is I used the same ribbon and I kind of cut it a little bit longer, just like I did with that other one. So we're going to cover up my smudge so no one will ever know it's there. I think I'll just do the same thing because it's right here. I always put that there, but then I always look just to make sure it didn't move. All right, so then I'll put this down on our card base. I actually have some sunflowers growing out in my yard. I'm very excited because, well, I have one plant of sunflower. I started many. My chipmunks ate them. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Getting distracted here. There's no reason why I should be distracted because I'm all by myself. All right, I forgot that I want to put, I could leave it like that and tie a bow, but I already stamped this. Thank you for your kindness. But and then I cut it so it was the edges closer to the left side and more on the right side. So I'm just going to score it. Because sometimes, you know, if you like a shape but the words don't quite fit, you can do this little trick. So I'm going to fold on the scorer so that fits that space a little bit better. And I'm going to put that right here on top. I could use a dimensional. You could cut it, but I'm going to, there's enough snail there. And let's see. Let's actually try. This one I just glued straight down, but let's see what happens if we use dimension. So these are foam strips, which I like because they're skinny, especially when you want to have like what I call straddling the ribbon. Kind of works out pretty nicely. Uh-oh, I see a sad face on there. Let me know if there's a problem with my site here, or if I froze or something. Let me know what's going on. I want a sad face with these sunflower cards. There we go. And then now we're going to put that on. Unless the sad face is for my mistakes, then, you know, that happens. But I just want to make sure the recording's okay. So let me know it's working. All right, so this is on here like that. And then what I did with this is I have, oh good, thanks Nancy. Maybe the sad face, I can't say who put it on there, was from my mistake. And that's very nice of you, but I make mistakes all the time. So I usually learn from them. All right, so I'm doubling up my linen thread. And I'm going to put that underneath my ribbon. Probably cut longer than I needed, but then I'm going to do a bow. Tie it right there. I'm just going to cut this loop. And I'm going to do just a little easy bow like that. Isn't that cute? All right, so this one actually looks a little crisper than that one. I think that looks much better than my first one. All right, so the final one I'm going to show you, which I love, this is my favorite one, put those there, is right here. There we go. I don't know if you can see. Well, maybe a little bit. There's some texture on here. So I'm going to show you how to do the two colors. Thank you, Polly. Great. Make sure we're still working here. So I have, and let me make sure that is the right size. So somehow that one piece got in there that shouldn't have, but that's okay. So I'm going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to line up my sunflower on my paper. And I'm using, if you used a little bit wider vanilla, then it would just plop right on there. But mine, it like just fits. So it's going to fit like that. So I'm going to line it up over here. Oops. Line it up like that. And then reuse the washi tape, hopefully. Like that. Okay. So I'll put this back on, and I'm going to start with the yellow first, just like I had been doing. Okay, Karen says, thank you. I like the 3 Step It Up cards. Pretty. That check ribbon looks great. Yeah. That's where my head first went when I saw the sunflowers, was like kind of, the black and white check. There's so much of that pattern with sunflowers everywhere. So I'm sure that's why my head went there. Oops, moved a little bit. It's nice. The masks are big enough so you really do have plenty to kind of grab onto. All right. All right, so the yellow is done, but I'm going to leave the mask in place. And we're going to introduce a second color. So Sweet Sorbet. And you can introduce lots of colors, but I just thought these two would look pretty together. I'm very lightly going to dab. Not too much on there. I'm going to softly, at first, just kind of go in the same direction. And then I can always add more, right? You can't take away, but you can always add more. Like that one's a kind of a big blob, but we'll try to fix it. I have grown sunflowers with they're kind of reddish in the past, or not reddish, but pinkish reddish. They're beautiful. And again, my chipmunks like to eat them. So, I started saying that chipmunk ate all but one, and so it actually ate the top of one, but I left the plant there, and now it has 4 stems on the side that have 4 sunflowers. So that made me happy. Okay, so isn't that pretty? Again, you can use different colors, and you can do the same thing actually with the leaves, with the greens, which I did not bring up a second green, but let's see if I can create with, I'll do it light at first, and then I'll see if I can make it darker. I'm just going to leave the leaves in place. And let's see if I can get a little shading in there. That was kind of a little... Oh, my washi tape's in the way on this one again. So I'm just going to lift it up, move that washi tape out of the way. All right. So there are leaves. And on this one, rather than do like the 2-step like I did on that first one and the second one I just did just that, I'm going to do just the other one. So this. I think it has kind of an artsy feel to it. So I am going to use early espresso because it's darker. Make sure I get in all those little nooks there. So this is the only template that I haven't used it with the blender brushes yet, and I will, just because you have all this detail in there. So just keep that in mind if using the blender brushes with this technique, just to really kind of scrub it in there. All right. I love, love, love this one. Look at that. And then to step it up even more, let me close my inks. Up, finger in the brown. I'm going to bring up my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we're going to texturize it. All right, let's move this, move this. I'm just going to move this. Just trying not to smudge everywhere, because you know me, that's what I do. All right. So I have my machine. And oh shoot, I can't do this because I don't have the right plate. Darn it. All right, I didn't bring up my gray plate. You know when you do the 3D embossing folders? That's all right. I was gonna put this in here. This is the timeless worn. I was gonna put this in here and run it through my machine, but I didn't bring the right plate. I need to get a second set of plates, I think, so I don't forget. And then it would look like, you see the texture? It's hard to get the light on here. There's some texture on there, and it's just subtle, but it's a little something, but that's all right. We'll, oh, I really like a texture though. It won't fit my mini machine that I have up here. And the plate, let's see, hold on, let's see if I can improvise. Let's see, let's try something I've never tried before. I'm sure we'll do it live. Let's try this plate with this machine. I don't know if it will work. All right, so we'll put this in here, and it really doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter. You want to always have the black Stampin' Up front, because then that's where you get the raised, the grooves. All right, I'll put this in here, and let's try and see if we can put this right on top, because it's pretty close to the width of my paper. No, that's not. Oh, interesting. So let's try. This might be too thick. Ooh, that works. Okay. Interesting that this gray plate's a little thinner than the gray plate that comes with the machine, but that worked. You always want a sandwich, and the thickness always has to be the same. So sometimes, depending on the plate you use, varies what plate you use. All right. Oh, that's a tip I'll have to share with people who didn't watch. Okay, so now we have that texture, which again, I don't know if you can see it. You can see a little bit there. And now we'll put the card together. So this one, instead of the yellow, I decided to use the Sweet Sorbet. I really do think the texture for this one really kind of helps with the card. I stopped. Uh-oh. Hopefully I'm back going there, Nancy. So we have a few more people who joined us. Paula and Cindy, awesome. I'll show you what we made at the end. And Becky, awesome. I'll show you what I made, all the 3 cards. And I don't know if I said this at the beginning or not. This time is going to be my new time. And I'm sorry for switching back and forth. But I'm sure you guys understand that different family obligations come up, and sometimes we have to be flexible. And so that is the case, what happens. So I have to be available to help out someone at 3. So that's why we're going to do this at 2. So I just wrapped that around 3 times. I'm going to cut that and tie a knot. Actually, sometimes I even wrap it underneath and then just tie a knot. Leave those there for a second. And if you want, you can spread these out or leave them. And what I'm going to do is take the linen thread and wrap them around 3 fingers. So 1, 2, 3 times, or 4 times, it doesn't matter. And cut. And where, I know I have blocks up here. Oh, here they are. So I'm going to put this right in here to tie it. So if I let go, it's going to unravel. But if I put a weight or a block on there, I can still see it and it holds it down. So I don't need a third hand. So now I'm going to tie it. Just a knot. You can leave it like that, or if you have enough, you can even tie a bow like that. And then you can flip that up around if you want. So it's kind of a nice way of making a thicker bow with that thin linen thread. Oh, good. Karen's never stopped. Hopefully, Nancy, you got back on. Oh, you're good. Perfect. So then this is going to go in here. What I wanted to do, I didn't have it. I wanted to put like a strip of black and white striped paper underneath it. But I really need a black and vanilla striped, right? Because I used vanilla paper and I don't have that. I don't even know if they make it. So that's why I did this. And then I already stamped a thank you. So we're just going to put that right on there. And I'm going to use those foam strips again and just cut them. I love these foam strips. They really come in handy for all sorts of things. And I just noticed I have green on my hand. So I'm going to be very, very careful. And then I'm going to grab, yep, I see it. I'm going to grab my chamois to wash my hands. Thank you. Do you guys do this? Do you wash your hands with your chamois? Okay. So what you can also do with a chamois, the reason actually why I brought it up here, was you can wash your mask. It's all water based ink, so it washes right off. Or you can just put it under running water in the sink and let it dry. You may have to just check that ink didn't come through on both sides. So I'd wash both sides just to be sure. All right, so let me grab all the cards we made. All right, so let's see. Straight. We started off with this one. So it was a simpler one, right? It was just a straight stencil, all the 4 stencils, because we had 4 layers, which I'm going to leave those over there. They're kind of dirty. So just very basic, plain. And then we did the same layout, but I just shifted the stencil and did it again. So you have kind of a 2-tone flower, a fuller flower, and then I just left that plain brown. I think if I had that, it would be a little bit busy. And then this one, same layout. I started with the yellow, and then I added some sweet sorbet color, and then I only added the decorative middle, and then we embossed it with a texture. And there's lots of textures you can use. So those are the 3 crooked cards that we made. And so they're made, this doesn't look like much, but the Abundant Beauty Decorative Masks, they come out or they'll be available tomorrow with everything else in the holiday catalog, which is very exciting. I seem to have lost the other one. So this is also with a sunflower. There's a houndstooth, there were some leaves, and there was snowflakes. So it's a nice little set that you can use. Oh yeah, Germex, sometimes that would, yep, that works. I'm always inky. Always inky. And the other thing, let me just put me back on there and let me raise this up. That's what I was trying to do. Perfect. I have the paper share. Today's the deadline to sign up. And if you're interested, all the details, if you go to mailsomethingpretty.com/share, all those details are there, as well as the sign up. And actually, let me just type it in here real quick. That might be easier, as long as I spell right. Perfect. Okay, so I just put the link in the comments on the paper share information. So everything is there. There's 3 types of shares. I split it up into 3s this year in case you didn't want everything. So you can get just like the designer papers. You could get just the specialty papers, or you could get just the ribbons, or you can do any combination. If you do all 3, it will save you $3, and I'll send you a bonus. Okay, I think that's what I had for you. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Polly loves a third cut. That's my favorite one too. It's probably no surprise, but that's my favorite one. I will be using these more, but I just wanted to give you an example. And I said earlier, some people are making them with red color, and so they look like poinsettia flowers. So that's kind of nice. You can tie them into Christmas. All right. So again, this will be my new time, which is actually my original time when I first started doing live. So Tuesdays at 2 Eastern Standard Time. Figure out whatever that is for your time frame. And the replays are always available. They just automatically upload, so you don't have to worry about that. So thank you for your patience, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.